Poland. I'm not even sure I am multi-broadcasting now. Apparently I am, and I hope it's going on okay. Hoping. Okay, multi-stream, what's that? Okay, well, it doesn't look anything there. Yeah, okay. Oh, I didn't put the... Okay, wait a minute. Let me open up the messaging, restream chat now. I didn't put the restream chat, the unified chat, on my main tab here. Aha, here it is. And again, let's pick up where we were. So that's the Google. Okay, we got this one here. Right. That should be okay, right? Should be okay. Locking everything, locking the chessboard so things don't move around. Okay, we're good now. I think should be okay. What about... Yeah, that's fine. Should be in order. Okay. MVL and Bogdan. You guys tell me who you're rooting for. We got a couple of guys. We got Prague. Hey, what's the evaluation gauge? No stuff here. Okay, no evaluation gauge, no software, no nothing. It's just ourselves trying to figure out things here. Just a couple of minutes left. The most critical seems to be this one because it's like a couple of seconds left, like 16 seconds left for Daniel and 10 minutes for MVL, and it looks like white is enjoying a passed pawn. This is a serious stuff, and white definitely clearly has an advantage here. And it looks to me any trades that take place is very much advantageous for white. So it is very good to, from white's point of view, to getting rid of the things. So now let me think. If black actually captures here, well, I assume you've got to take. That's one. Or what if they take then the pawn? Or with the other guy? Losing that pawn looks like we're going to go to a draw. Maybe he should have played differently. I mean, in principle, yeah, trading knights, but you don't want to lose that particular pawn on the c-file. Hello, Sam. Yeah, so I don't know what to say about this. Maybe not knight d3, eh? Maybe not knight d3, maybe something else. So knight d3, maybe not. Maybe, I don't know, maybe push the a pawn or something. Anyway, let's go back to what's happening actually on the board. I don't know what you're talking about, what GM you're playing, eh? Rook d3. I assume now black's going to take the c6 pawn. They have to take the pawn. Why didn't they take it? Why didn't they take, let's say, with this guy, or c7, c6? What could have been? So your black takes on c6. What's the stuff? I assume takes and takes, so what's the problem? What am I missing? What am I missing? King e7. Okay, I mean, I understand you want to stop them to playing rook d7. I get this. Ah, the ice cream van. The noisy guys. Rook c3. Takes. So why doesn't black take on c6? What's happening here? Check or something. They play this. What exactly is going on? You take, they take, and then you go this way, right? But it's still a draw, right? So he's going to go back now. Rook d2, c2. And we're going to have a draw at this stage? I felt at some point white should be in the advantage because of that pass pawn on c6. Okay, he's forcing a little bit with e4 to e5. So black is going to have double pawns on the e file now if they capture. What does that even mean? I mean, okay, you could attack them later on, but... Okay, he got just a couple of seconds, so that might be a very clear explanation for those maybe rushed moves. And so rook attacks now. You can't defend that pawn, but you can definitely take here. And also black has the f6 available if there's any checks coming and things. This pawn is being attacked. I'm not sure that works because of this. Okay. Draw then. What do you play here? Do you take, takes and takes? What exactly? He avoided the trade. I guess you can make a battery aiming e6. But it's defendable. Okay, that looks like a draw at this stage. Hello Fibonacci, how's it going? So it looks like battery, but the e6 is easily defendable. Twice, whichever way you want to look at, you could get a rook and defending a6, and there's not a problem at all. So rook d to e2 and rook c6, I guess. And what else is here? Nothing. Probably a draw. Krzysztof Duda Prague. Prague is white. Duda black. Bishop pair, okay. Bishop pair, fine. Very complicated. Look at this. If this knight didn't exist, you even would imagine that this stuff would be possible. Of course, if you took and they took with a pawn, could potentially playing the check and winning the bishop. Probably this is the reason for which Duda actually dropped the bishop on a8. So there's no more problem with rook g7 checking and stuff like that. So that should be in order. But actually, I think this is quite complicated and not too much time available for Prague and Duda. This is actually complicated. There's a lot of stuff to consider. 3 minor pieces on rook each. Let me look at the material. 4-1. 5 white pawns versus 6 black pawns. But I think the white pieces are more active. Also, if this knight disappears, there might be further checks coming. Black's turn to play though. 25 seconds. He tries to reroute the knight. I guess you want to play via e3 and f5. Knight e3, knight f5 checks, and also he controls the d6 as well. If not anything else, maybe he got another plan or something. But looks to me knight e3, knight f5, knight d6, hitting the rook and things. Makes sense. Knight e3, knight f5, knight d6. Yeah, it takes you a billion years, but improving the pieces, in other words. He tries to find a better way to improve the pieces and keep the things as they currently are and try and do this way. Knight e3, knight f5, knight d6. As for black, I think it's easier for white to play the position than for black. Well, black attacks the bishop. You have to move that guy. So you have to move the bishop, right? Unless you want to take here and then dropping here. I'm not sure. If that works better, or maybe just move the bishop. And if you move the bishop where? Bishop e3? Then they're going to push this guy and opening up the rook. So you got to be very careful here. Oh my lord, look at this one. Jesus Christ, what's going on here? If rook takes, what's the stuff? Is it this? What is this? What's this thing going on here? What's happening here? Rook takes b6, right? How you take the guy back? He took on b6, of course. Now rook attacks this guy. This Prague guy is a super GM, right? So he got to figure out something. But hell, Duda took on b6. You attack this guy, right? Well, bishop b7. If not, rook b8. What the heck's going on here? Hi there, Adash. Thanks for joining, pal. So, what is black supposed to be doing? Move bishop b7 or just rook b8? Sorry, what the heck was the last thing that happened with the Did Prague calculate something very, very complex? What's going on? Can't you do rook b8? Well, if you do rook b8, the guy's going to take you here. King to d6. This is a lot of stuff to take in. Okay, there's a check here. At least we can see that. There's a check. They just stopped it now. They stopped it now. Okay, there's a discover check that might happen, but if you take here, king takes, right? You can't do the check because black's going to take. So it doesn't work. Maybe knight f5. Nah, that doesn't work. Bishop takes. King takes, right? Bishop takes, king takes. He goes for the undefended pawn on h7. Rook takes h7, at least. Moves the rook. Is there a fork or something? So if we take now, what's going on? Ah, we got this. If rook h5, let me put the red paint. If rook h5 would have been this, that's the reason Prague played g3. So g3 was played to stop knight to go f4 and fork the rook and the bishop. That's the reason. That's the reason. Pawn majority here on A and B. This guy's going to be rolling down the board now. Those pawns are actually a problem for Prague. These guys. Very difficult endgame. Very sharp. But everything has to do now with those two black pawns coming down. So if there's any plan for Ian, this is the plan. The plan is b4. And just create a passed pawn and get yourself a queen. Other than that, what's happening here? And white enjoys also a passed pawn. We could say this one, guys. There is an h4 pawn now that want to go forwards and promote as well. So that's another thing. So it's going to be, yeah, exactly as we said, b4. That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I would have played myself. So now we're creating a passed pawn. There is a passed pawn on the A file. And exactly as we said, rook h8 in order to make space for this guy to move. So rook now is going to play, very likely the white rook is going to play rook a8. Very likely rook a8. Making space for the h-pawn. Check. You can attack this guy with tempo. But then again, we may have this, so you have to think about that one as well. Or you're going to play king e2 maybe. King e2 to protect f2, exactly. Prague had decided already. Just a couple of seconds, not too many. So if there is any rook b, you're going to play king f3, right? Or something. And if there's any check, you're going to go king g2. Rook a8, we did say that because you got to keep an eye on that guy. And not just that. It clears the way for the other pawn. Rook 8 to protect the pawn. I guess he could play this. That's very likely. It'll happen. There might be some checks coming here. All sorts of things. All sorts of things. King f3. Does he want to support this pawn? Maybe. Pushes the pawn. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. King on f3 is not checkable. So the black rook can't win the necessary tempo to then promote. So as long as the white king stays on f3, you can't check them and then push for promotion. So that is why Prague played king to f3, to keep the king out of checks. Hello, Harlow there. I can't type in too many things, but yeah, so I can't type in. King g4. Yes, Belmar. Yeah, Prague looks... look, this is not easy at all. It's not easy. I guess white is enjoying a better position here, Belmar. I think you're right. I'm not sure how the h-pawn can be stopped successfully. There is a black pawn moving, but I think white's doing better at this stage. Yeah, okay, you don't have any tempo to winning with the black rook, you know, to move to check and then... So whatever you play, white's going to take this guy. Whatever you play. I'm not sure what black can play here. They try to, but the black king tries to stop this guy from advancing. Yeah, the white knight then jumps on f5, so good luck with this. Good luck with this. You could do check, but that means going back. You don't want to do a threefold repetition, right? You don't want to do a threefold repetition. I guess Krzysztof would be happy with this, but it's not going to happen. Knight f5, then push this guy in. Oh, he attacks the rook. So that means black rook now has to move, and because there's nothing available for them, you're going to take this guy. Okay, dude, I'm going to resign now. Yeah, he's going to resign now. Okay, we take, but then we play some knight b4. I don't think that's a problem after the so-called skewer. Pin, that is. Yeah, I don't think that's a problem. We also have this, so you can't play rook because of this. If rook goes h2 is a blunder. Yeah, well, too late. White's winning. It's winning because there's two passed pawns. G pawn and H pawn. So Belmard, I think it's almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed that White's winning. Almost, because you never know the future with absolute certainty. But in all probabilistics, White is winning. There's a free pawn on H, free pass pawn on G. You can't stop those. Yeah, you move that rook to safety. Rook b6 would be good. Check. Rook b6 is good. And if there's any d6, then you can play potentially f5. And you're going to be attacking twice. I like this move. Knight c5 now. You could go rook d6. And many other things. And very many other things. Okay, you attack now the knight. You attack the knight and then the pawn on the... Okay, he's going to resign. He's going to resign now. There is no moves here. Okay, rook d6 or knight f5? Rook d6. Everything pretty much works. After king plays e7 or something, you got this move. He didn't even bother to get closer to the rook. He tries to desperately... He tries to keep the king closer to this pawn, but good luck stopping it. Because you can't really stop it. Can't really stop it. Beautiful games. Ali Reza with Aravind. Quickly, this one here. Let's see, fellas. What's going on? Oh, there's a little pass pawn, but probably that's a draw, right? It's worth for white to try push for the victory. Because black is having two separated pawns. Okay, king f4. But how do you do stuff with your white rook? Because black's going to check you all day here. Unless you try to run with the king h3. Very difficult. Very difficult. Belmar, do you think it's an easy win here for white? Well, the h-pawn gonna go now. Yeah, I think it's winnable for white. There is a free pawn on the h. There is a... Maybe you can move again, then shielding, then... Yeah, well, let's see. Quite instructive now. We're gonna see if Aravind succeeds in promoting the h. It's a free pawn. It's a pass pawn, and cool. The only thing for black is just black is gonna be desperate to check the white king. That's for sure. Okay. Which one we haven't seen? Veselin Topalov, Vladimir Fedoseev. Yeah, there you go. We said that. We said the rook, black rook wants to check the king all day. Exactly. We could attack the rook now, but... Let's go to Vladimir Fedoseev, Veselin Topalov here. Whose turn is it? Veselin, the Super Grandmaster from Bulgaria. What do you play? You move the knight, you move the what? If you move the knight, you're going to drop this guy. He's being triple attacked. Probably this is a draw, right? Because black attacks the d7 white pawn 3 times. With the knight, with the rook, and with the king. We got 1, 2, and 3. 3 attackers on that guy, only 2 defenders. So probably a draw. It's white, unless there is a crazy tactic I'm not seeing, I'm not sure. What do you play? I'm not sure what do you play here. Probably you draw, right? What do you play? Knight c4 or something? But then they're going to take. Yeah, but then maybe you could take on b6 with a knight. Although tricky, very tricky stuff. Very tricky stuff. I think it's worth a shot. Probably you should go knight c4, right, fellas? Probably knight c4. Let's see what he played, though. He played rook b5, attacking b6, knight takes, king takes, and you take rook b6, right? Rook b6, there you go. So Prague had won the game. Yeah, exactly as I said. Very likely, 99.99. Prague is winning. Very likely. And he did win. Ian resigned. Ian Duda. This one, the only left game is Alireza with Aravend, or Aravend white, Alireza black. And looks like Veselin should be winning against Fedoseev. He goes for this guy. I guess you take it, right? You take it, then black's going to play what? This? But maybe he was afraid about rook b8 and you can't defend the pawn. So for the time being, he wanted to just centralize the king. Maybe quick access to this side at some point. I guess he doesn't want to lose the b3 pawn. So the reason I guess Veselin didn't rush into taking, like he didn't want to lose the b3 after rook plays b7 or b8. So if you take now on a5, let me just do a little bit of red arrow. If you play rook a5, probably we could expect rook b7. And how do you defend b3? Well, that's a check, but I guess you could play king e7, king e8. The white rook now defends the b3. Okay. Yeah, exactly as I said. Rook e7, king e8. What's black going to do? They could play rook d3. Exactly as I said. Rook d3. Now, if you take on a, they's going to take on b3. So, draw. Because you're going to be checked all day here. You're going to be checked every single turn. So I'm not sure how white is going to be successfully push this guy. Particularly if you put the rook in front of the pass pawn. Now, ladies and gents, the rooks want to be behind the pass pawns. So this rook want to be behind. You don't want to be in front of the pawn. You're not going to make it. Okay, rook's going to take, but that's a draw, right? Yeah, of course it's a draw. Now, pawn takes, king takes, goodbye. That's a draw. That's a draw. Exactly. The only remaining game, boys and girls, is Aravend Firouzja. So let's have a look at this one. The last game. Hello, Simon. Hello, the other Sam on TikTok. Simon, sorry, man. I didn't see your previous message. I apologize because the TikTok chat is very difficult to see on time due to some technical complications. TikTok is not in the unified restream chat, so I have to change the tabs in order to read my TikTokers' messages. But anyway, I'll try to remind myself. Yep. He lost. Duda lost already. So this is the last game. The only one is actually... So the only loss is Krzysztof's. The only loss today. And now let's see this one, Aravend with Firouzja. Do you think, guys, that Aravend's going to beat Alireza now? If it's a victory, it's going to be very difficult to achieve it. And I'll explain why. First thing first, it's black's turn. And my 2 cents would be they're going to check the white king all day. So we're going to be checked every single turn. Rook a3, wherever you move the king, check again. There you go. Rook a3 again. There you go. Check again. And that's going to be a perpetual check here. Well, if we capture now and then take, you lose. I think, do you? Rook takes, king takes. Yeah, you can't trade. You can't trade, you lose. You just need to make sure you're going to check that white king if you're black here. But very difficult. Now, where's the king going to go? They only got this. Well, you can fall back. He fall back. Now, if we do this, black's going to play check exactly like this. If you push the king f5, black's going to respond rook a5 check. You can't let white king just simply infiltrate like that. Ideally, white wants to play after rook leaves. I don't know where, but probably they won't. Exactly. So you can't check the king and then move this guy. And if you move king f5, they're going to play rook b5. So you're not going to make any progress, I think. So, guys, my 2 cents is that this is going to be a draw. 4 draws today, and this is the 4th draw. They're not going to do nothing else. Oh, Lord, did the camera die? Jesus, man. Yeah, my camera's finished, fellas. My camera's done, man. My camera's done. Apologies for this. I think my camera is dead. Oh, Lord. Yeah, I got an issue with the camera. So, I'm gonna go and replace it, but that will take me a little bit of time. Yeah, I'll have to replace it, I guess. Yeah, the camera is super dead. I don't know if it's yeah, the camera is dead, for Christ's sake. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Right, wait a sec. I might need to... I don't know. Yeah, there might be a glitch here. Guys, I'm going to restart, I think, the whole thing. And I think I'm going to get the other camera. I got the camera on the other computer, so maybe I'm just going to swapping them and be returning them. Oh, boy.